I've heard the term quantum hologram, and I've read it, and I'm not sure if it's physical, like an atom, or if you might define exactly what a quantum
Thank
hologram.
you. That's an important question, Trish, and delighted to answer that. We spoke about matter emitting and reabsorbing energy continuously.
Yes.
Most of the 80 years of quantum mechanics, physicists have been concerned with individual particles and how they split and how they radiate and so on and so forth. But a colleague of mine in Germany, Dr. Walter Schempp, while working on MRI technology, trying to improve MRI machines, discovered a property called quantum holography. And basically what it is instead of studying individual emissions, you study them as a group phenomenon.
Okay.
And let me get that idea across pretty well. If you take a look at the ridges on your finger, you don't learn much if you just look at a single ridge and try to say, what does that tell me? But if you look at all 10 ridges and fingerprints as a group, it uniquely identifies you.
Yes, what a good way to understand that.
Well, the quantum hologram was a discovery that if you study the quantum photon emissions from any matter, it is carrying the information about the events in the life history of that piece of matter, whether that's this table, this book, you, me, or the trees here, or whatever. This is a wow discovery because it does a number of things. It elevates information in physics to the same level of importance as energy itself.
Oh my gosh.
When you say information, you mean?
Information, if we define it broadly, as just patterns of energy. So, the particular mathematical formalism that goes with the quantum holography is a group study. It also tells us this energy of this information is non-local, which means it's carried in the zero-point energy field.
I see.
And we can then start to say, we've heard the mystical tradition, for example, of the Akashic Record. Well, this seems to be the mechanism that allows the Akashic Record to take place. In other words, it is nature's memory system. And I've written a paper called The Quantum Hologram, Nature's Mind, to suggest this ubiquitous
that's fascinating.
application.
And the Akashic, just to make sure we're clear here, the Akashic Record holds all information that has ever been?
That presumably is the way the ancient mystics defined it, and that is precisely what the quantum hologram suggests it's all about. It's a mechanism to carry the history of everything.
Of everything.
And it carries it out throughout nature. And the point is, it is recoverable through resonance.
Oh, so when you're in barbecue mode and you realize that the same elements that compose you compose the stars and you came from a star, can the human being be in resonance with parts of nature?
That is exactly what happens. That's exactly how we get this information. It is exactly how the mother and the child get information between each other when they're apart or even close. They're resonating. We hear of athletic teams. They call it being in the zone.
Yes, absolutely.
But they're in resonance. They're all working with a resonant concept mentally of each other. And here is a mechanism that starts to explain it. But it goes further. It goes much further than that. It turns out that it causes us to alter our notion of how perception takes place at all.
Oh, really? Within ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
We call our intuition the sixth sense.
Right.
Should be called the first sense.
Is that
because it's rooted in quantum phenomenon that came along well before there was any life on this planet, or this planet really even organized itself well. So we are looking here at one of the most fundamental perceptual mechanisms in nature.
Edgar, why do we call it the sixth sense when it's really out there in front?
Because you correctly asked the question some time ago, we can't within classical physics describe these things. They don't fit. They've been called nonsense, psychic stuff within classical physics because there's no mechanism to describe it. But with quantum mechanics, there is.
There is.
And the quantum holograph, there now is. But see, that's a development of the last, the quantum hologram's development of the last 12, 15 years, and understanding resonance and non-locality and entanglement has only been really validated in the last 20-some years.
And it takes the world much longer to catch up,
to get
doesn't
these
it?
ideas across.
So Edgar, you used some really fascinating terms, nature's mind, and now we have this zero-point field, and it seems that physical things come from the zero-point field. Are you also implying that consciousness may come from the zero-point field?
Consciousness is still the great enigma. It is not clear. For example, we know we're conscious.
Yes.
But we now know there's consciousness throughout nature.
Yes.
For example, consciousness is defined as being aware.
Okay.
You're conscious and you're aware.
Yes.
But it's also defined, our type of consciousness, Homo sapiens, as being aware of our awareness, or self-reflectively aware.
Yes, right.
So, those are two different definitions of consciousness, but related. If we go back to our basic quantum entanglement, where I said particles can go across the universe and react, and I said in parenthesis, they seem to know what happened to each other. Let's postulate, as I do, that is the most simple, fundamental act of perception in all of nature. Two particles interacting with each other and knowing what's happening to the other one.
Can self-aware conscious beings, can humans influence the physical world with their thought?
Of course. And that, of course, is the active side. Perception is the passive side, the incoming information. But it's long been thought and poo-pooed by modern science about the interaction of mind and matter in a proactive sense. But I've investigated that carefully. I've been subject to it. I've looked at some of the great psychics of this world who, without a doubt, and in a laboratory setting, can demonstrate mind over matter type phenomena.
I've seen that too.
With regard to psychokinesis, one of the more important applications of that, of course, is healing. And those are some of the first ones that I studied, was healing. More importantly, I have personally, after many years, been the subject of alternative methods of healing.
And how was that?
Well, it worked.
It worked.
Prostate cancer, kidney cancer, both clear, clinically confirmed. And so there's no question but what psychokinesis is real enough. The real question is how to model it within science, and that's one of the unanswered questions that we don't quite know how to do yet. But we're narrowing in on how to model this within science. What we can address at this point in time, because of the quantum hologram and the way nature interacts with itself through the quantum hologram, can come to a conclusion that we live in a universe that is intelligent, self-organizing, creating, learning, trial and error, participatory, interactive, non-locally interconnected evolutionary system.
Wow.
And you got to have all those words to describe the way it functions.
Boy, Edgar, that is so far from the Newtonian Cartesian
It's
universe.
very far from the Newtonian Cartesian ideas. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Edgar.